Okay, so what we're going to look at now is this thing called an Argand diagram. Um, so basically what you can do is if you take, so we have a range of complex numbers here, and we can represent these complex numbers on a graph like so. So if we have a look at this graph, there's two axes. So the horizontal one, okay, so this one here, is called the real axis. So that's where we plot the real numbers or the real part of complex numbers. And then this vertical axis is called the imaginary axis. Okay, and sometimes you'll see it'll be abbreviated. For example, the imaginary axis will be IM and the real axis will be RE. And you'll notice as well that we have our positive real numbers, and then we have our negative real numbers. And up here we have our positive imaginary numbers, and we have our negative imaginary numbers as well. So with both of these axes, complex numbers can then be plotted in the same way as points on a coordinated plane. So for example, if you have the complex number 3 plus 2i, so for example 3 plus 2i, so just like on a coordinated plane you need 2 points, so 3 and 2 for example, and this is your x-axis and this is your y-axis. Well, just like that, we can plot a complex number as well, very similarly like that. Okay, so the real part represents, the vertical axis, the number represents the coordinate for the vertical part, and the imaginary part represents the vertical axis. In the same way that, the x-axis is the horizontal and the y-axis is the vertical in a coordinated plane. So let's say if we wanted to take this guy here and we wanted to plot it on this Argand diagram. So first of all, we can see that this is positive 3. So we look along here, and here is positive 3 here. And it's plus 2i, so we go up to here, and this is where that point is going to be here. So we can see here that, so we're going up, so 3, and then we go across. Okay, and this point here represents this complex number. So we can see here, this is the imaginary part, 2i, so we have 2i, and then we have the real part, which is 3. Okay, so this is the point 3 plus 2i, like so. So if we have a look, we'll do a few of these. So for example, if I wanted to plot this number 2 plus 3i, so again 2, that's the real part, and 2 plus 3i, so I'm going to be up here. So this is where that point is. That complex number is 2 plus 3i. So that's that one. So this one, 3 plus 1i. So again, we have 3, and then we have 1i is here. So we would be plotting that here. So that's 3 plus I. Okay, and there's a 1 in front of that. It's just implied. You don't need to write it in. So that's that one. So where's this point 4 plus 0i? Okay, so this point here, okay, or the origin, it's going to be 0, 0i, okay, and then it's also going to be 0 in relation to the real numbers as well. So if we think about where is the point, so where is this point? So it's 4, and it's 4, but it's 0, okay, so it's going to be here. It's going to be right on this axis here. So that's going to be 4 plus 0i. That's that one. So then if we think about this one, so 5 minus 2i, so 5 is here, and minus 2i is down here, so it's this one here. So these are the minus imaginary numbers, so minus 2i, so that's going to be there, so that's 5 minus 2i. Okay, so that's that one. So then we have 0, and we have minus 3i, so 0 is here, and minus 3i is here, so it's going to be right on this imaginary axis. So that's 0, 0 minus 3i. And then if we take this one here, so minus 1i, so again, remember we can turn any imaginary number into a complex number by just putting 0 in front of it here. So this represents the real part. So again, 0 is here on the axis, and then we have minus 1. So minus 1 is just right here. Okay, so this here represents the number 0 minus 1i. Okay, so that's that one. 0 minus 1i. And then if we look at this one, so minus 4, so again, the real part minus 4 is out here, and then plus 2i, so plus 2i is here, so it's up. It's going to be here. So for example, up here. So that's going to be 4 plus 2i. Okay, so that is what's known as the Argand diagram, and then we can represent complex numbers on this diagram. So again, the horizontal axis represents the real numbers. It's where the real part of the complex number is plotted, and then the vertical axis is called the imaginary axis, and that's where the imaginary numbers are plotted on this axis. And just like the coordinates of a plane, the real part and the imaginary part of a complex number are like coordinates as well that can be used to plot each of these complex numbers on a Argand diagram. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense, and thank you for listening.